Hey guys, so first off, I just want to apologize for this week. I know you all have probably been wondering why there wasn't a video from Jasmine or Philip or even me yesterday. As you may or may not know, over the past weekend, the entire Northeast chunk was affected by massive, massive storms. I know Philip lost power. I believe he said Jasmine was having issues because she's in the process of moving. So she's been having to do her uploads from like the library. So they've been having difficulties, and me personally, yesterday I actually had to do a schedule swap with a coworker who was going out of the country to get married. So I ended up working yesterday until 10 o'clock p.m. I didn't get home till 11 o'clock due to traffic and issues. So I was a little bit too tired to do my video. I wanted to do it today on my day off, and I'm awake. I have energy. So yeah, I just wanted you guys to know that we weren't like forgetting about doing videos. We were just really either unable to or actually pretty much unable to. Also, I'm not going to have credits on this video simply because I am in the process of making new credits, and my video is open from, or my video editor is open from last night when I started working on them, and if I were to want to work on that, I'd have to just kind of like stop what I was doing and start from scratch, or remember where my mind was last night, and it'll be easier for me to do that if I'm looking at it where I left off last night rather than opening it from scratch. I just work weird. Anyway, so today's theme is discussing the use of certain things during rituals. This would be blood, bones, other odd, well, not only odd, but other extreme tools during your rituals, and what are personal viewpoints on these. So really, it's kind of a catch-22. Well, no, not catch-22. Actually, no, catch-22 is probably not what I'm looking for. Honestly, I would say that it depends on the type of ritual that you're doing, but the thing that you need to keep in mind is anytime you use what I like to refer to as the living essence of something, you need to kind of realize that whatever you're doing is going to be amped up 1,000-fold. There are the normal rituals that we do with placebos, which is what I like to call the tools, because I don't use tools that often anymore. I view tools as placebos for those who work better by using them, because most of my stuff is up in my crazy little noggin. But, well, I'll just call them tools to be respectful. But, when you do your normal rituals, like your house cleansing, or your good luck, or your well wishes, or, whatever, you're not going to really use blood, or a corpse, and when I say corpse, I mean animal corpse. Just to clarify, we are not necromancers. Hi, to bye. But, you're not going to use such extreme tools, or ingredients to do a house cleansing. And, I mean, you can, but you would only do that if, like, let's say the house was plagued by the demon legion. We are many, because you would need something that extreme. What I'm getting at is these tools are very, very huge. They are very, very dangerous, is what I would say. Anytime that I've ever known anyone who has incorporated the living essence of a being or the former vessel of a living being through taxidermy, their rituals have taken on a whole new level of magnification. And I don't necessarily believe it's wrong, but I believe that you should not be doing this unless it is absolutely, undeniably required to do. If you're just doing a marriage ritual, blood's not going to be needed. If you're going to be doing a ritual to, like I said, cleanse a house, blood's probably not going to be needed. Bones are probably not going to be needed. Unless it is a malevolent spirit that is needing to be assisted with passing on. Then if you had the bones of the body, then, look, you've seen Supernatural. And I'm not trying to make a joke of this. This is just me trying not to be 100% serious. I like my videos to be enjoyable, so I interject a little bit humor. I want you guys to know I do really take this stuff seriously. But instances in which it might be necessary to magnify your ritual and to include something like that. Depending on your level of belief in faith healing or healing in general through pagan means, someone who is afflicted by a disease, having a vial of their blood, which of course you would need to exercise the appropriate precautions, to wear gloves, protect yourself from interacting with their blood and your skin, just in case it's a contractable disease. But I have known people in the past who have contracted some sort of terminal illness that, they went to a pagan person or a witch doctor or whatever you want to call them, because there's been a few different types, where they offered up a vial of their blood and said, purify me. You know, now, I don't necessarily 100% believe in faith healing. I believe it can help kind of like a painkiller. I don't necessarily believe that it can 100% completely cure something. But in that case, I could see that being a justifiable use. You know, the person offering up a vial of their blood saying, here is the source of the corruption, you know, this will give you something to work with. And sometimes you wouldn't even have to open the vial. You could just use the vial as a, you know, a centerpiece to concentrate all the energy into or something. An instance where you might be justified in using a taxidermied body of a animal. Perhaps you have a pet who has passed on, and you wish to memorialize that pet, or you wish to give that pet strength in passing on to the next incarnation or the next level of being. You could incorporate that. You could make the, I don't know what the verb is for actively taxidermizing something, if that's the word, but you could perform a ritual using the properly prepared body of that animal that has passed on to be your form of closure, be your form of a funereal service, you know, where you are performing the taxidermy to not restrict the spirit into the vessel, but to honor the memory of your loved one that has passed on. That is something where I would seem as justified. Now, entering into the realm of magical combat, there are instances in which I have used my own blood to magnify rituals that I have done for my protection, to attack somebody who is attacking me. I have actually used my own blood in cleansing rituals that I have done against entities that were very, very, very potent. And these are usually the types that are inadvertently brought into this realm by someone being really fucking stupid with a Ouija board that, you know, they're easily overpowered and end up inviting something really, really nasty. So I have used my own blood, but I generally do not use other people's. And when I do use that, I've used it to draw runes, I've used it to draw chaos sigils, I've used it in lieu of ink. I haven't really used it for much else beyond that. Like, I will never ever give anyone a vial of my own blood, because that is basically like giving them a knife to slit your throat with, or puppet strings to wrap around your limbs to control you. But ultimately, I don't judge anyone who uses these, except for those who use them for directly malevolent purposes. Because it's wrong. You know, it's wrong to try to acquire the piece of someone's body to do something to them simply because they pissed you off. The use of living essence from a being is very, very potent. It is not something to be trifled with. It is not something to joke about. So anyone who would steal someone's hair, this is actually something done in the realm of voodoo. Voodoo, a lot of the rituals that they do involving a targeted person require the possession of things like a strand of hair or a clump of hair, teeth, skin flakes, so on and so forth. You hear a lot of stories of voodoo being really scary because voodoo uses these materials sometimes, and it can very well impact the person that is targeted severely. So the only thing that I say about these is I have used blood in my past of my own, so I can't judge anyone who chooses to use blood in their rituals, but I can judge them if they're using it for the wrong purposes. Mine have always been for relatively benevolent purposes or to protect myself. I've never used taxidermy. I don't enjoy dead things, so that's not really my realm of expertise. And beyond that, all I would honestly say is anybody who chooses to even think about using these, this is kind of like the level of Dumbledore with the taxidermy, the blood magic, the all that stuff. And unless you are at the equivalent of Dumbledore and you've been around the pagan block a few times and you know how to protect yourself, you know how to do things to protect other people, don't do it. Because if you're down here at the level of Harry Potter year 1 and you start fucking with that shit, that's when people like me are going to have to come in and clean up after you when you inadvertently open a doorway to something that you can't close. And it's the truth. A lot of the things that happen in the supernatural realm are people start messing with things because they think it's cool. I knew a girl in high school who knew that I was studying witchcraft, and she wanted to read one of my books, and she read one of my books, and she decided to take a love spell that was in this book and mix it in with a little bit of what she had read about voodoo and history and grab a piece of this guy's hair and some skin flakes or something and spit from a handkerchief or something he blew his nose into, I don't know. And she made this really kind of like mashed together Helen Keller spell of love, at least she thought. Well, 2 weeks later, the guy was in a car accident and broke his leg. That's what I'm talking about, is whether you believe in this stuff or not, don't mess with it lightly. Don't joke about it. Don't even dabble in it unless you know what you're doing and you've studied adequately. But I'm going on a rant. I'm totally going on a rant. I'm going to end it there. I'm going to go ahead and post this. In other news, anyone who is without power, anyone who suffered during the storms, I hope everyone's doing well. You should expect Philip and Jasmine to hopefully have their videos up this week. I don't think they're already up. You should also expect us to be back to normal next week, hopefully, barring no, acts of the goddess that will, hopefully no tree will fall upon anyone's car, house, but knowing my luck, you never know. Anyway, guys, stay safe, have fun, and I will catch you on the flip side of the broomstick. Wow, that was dumb. Where the hell did that come from?